I told you. Here he is. There's a guy I used to call, and I still call him this. I don't know if you've heard me calling him this, but I call him the fastest one. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea.
No idea. That's Alan Donald.
I
call him the fastest one. I secretly, quietly, by myself, call you the greatest one. You didn't know this, right? I call you all many other things, right? But when it comes to the game, tell me where you place yourself. If you do at all, actually, if you think about cricket and you place yourself, because people do that, right? Like you know, when you're in your bed by yourself, you might think about this. You know, where do I fit in this game? And what do you think?
I don't think anyone's ever asked me to like place myself. It's like I mean, how do you do that? You know, I think it's because it's difficult because I've played against some of these guys. I know a lot of these guys. I admire a lot of them. I've got a lot of like respect for them. And then you just don't categorize yourself in the same place. You know, you just kind of do what you do, and numbers are numbers. And then you look at people and you go, do I get along well with this person? Are they nice? Am I nice? You know, and that's how you kind of like. But I think for outsiders, it's easier to do because they don't know you. So they just look at like what you've achieved and they go, okay, this guy's got X versus Y, and therefore he's better or not.
All right.
But like, it's tough to kind of. But
it's okay. Don't do it because I get that. Like and everyone who I ask who is a great cricketer, bowler, batter, whatever, they can't. Actually, they are unable to do it. They just go, I just try to be better and better.
Yeah.
You know, I heard, and I don't know where I heard it. I think it was soccer. I heard Andy Cole say something like, I don't know if you don't like soccer, you don't watch any soccer. I'm a Man United fan, so I heard Andy Cole say somewhere, and he's an amazing striker, that he didn't feel he'd made it until he retired. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And that's just I want to get better and better and better and better and better, and he's just always striving to get better. Anyway.
But can I say one thing though, quickly, just on that point? So for a very long time, actually, there's this thing called imposter syndrome. I think a lot of people, I personally had that for a long time. Wow. Like didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
But I always thought that it was very easy to run in and hit a length and shape the ball slightly away.
Right.
And I thought it's only a matter of time before these people work out that I'm actually not that good. And I genuinely for a long time I just thought, how have they not worked out? That is all I'm trying to do.
Love it.
And when they figure it out, they'll realize I'm actually not that good because I don't have a plan B or a plan C.
Wow.
I mean, I probably did because natural reaction.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I was always like, jeepers, do they not know that I'm just looking to do this, which is really, really easy for me. But then the more you speak to everybody else, it's not as easy to do as it is to just say, just land it over there. But for a long time, I just thought, surely I'm not that good.
Wow. How about that, eh?
Yeah.
So, this landed over there and shape it away is consistently at 145 kilometers an hour and more. And just gonna like do this in your sleep and do it over and over again. Old ball, new ball, doesn't matter, I can do it. They're going to figure it out.
At some point.
Well, they didn't. No, they didn't. And still today. Tell you a story. We're here in Pakistan. And everywhere we go, it's not like we could be in any particular country and it would be different. It wouldn't be any different, actually. This fella, people walk up to him. And by country, it's different, right? Like, and I'm pretty sure it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, so by country, it is different. Because of success in each of the countries, right? And versus each of the countries. And everywhere everyone's saying, come and tell them. You understand?
Oh, we love watching you get her fees out.
It's terrible. Right? But they all say it.
Everyone. Like we were sitting in the airport yesterday, and it happened like 4 or 5 times, honestly. Like, out of the 10 people that come, like 50% of the people that come to you.
Yeah.
So can you get a photo? And then the last thing they say, as they walk away, oh, we're a big fan of how you got a visa. They walk away.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah.
And listen, this is not a slight on Muhammad Hafiz. Wonderful player. And in order to be up against this guy, you've got to be pretty good yourself. And to be up against him so many times, you've got to be pretty good yourself. And there are those stories, aren't there? Like McGrath and Atherton, or yeah, there are many of them. Anyway, I digress. The beginning really should be, why cricket? Like, you told me a story about, like, who plays cricket in your family?
No one. So I joked with Pommie the other day because no one in my family is athletic, to be honest with you. My dad, I think, did a little bit of water polo in his day. My grandfather, which is my mom's father, he's now passed away. He played some sport. He played some cricket and whatever, but no one else. Like, my mom doesn't, my sister isn't. My dad didn't do anything that what I watched him when I was growing up. It's not like he did anything.
Right.
None of my close cousins or relatives who I grew up with in Phalaborwa played any sport.
Right.
So I always joked with them and said to them that they got the wrong child. Like, when I was born, there's some other very sporty family that just got some kid that is not sporty at all. And my mom gets hell of a upset with me. She's like, I saw you come out of me. But like, it's just a running joke, you know. But yeah.
So why cricket? Because there's something else. I mean, what's the very first sport you were exposed to? When did you start playing cricket?
So I was a late cricketer, around 10, I think. So it's quite late. I mean, I think if you're born in India or Pakistan or somewhere like that, you are given a cricket bat like immediately, like from baby in your crib. But I did all sorts of other sports. I was good at athletics. I grew up in Phalaborwa. It was very hot. So I did a lot of swimming when I was younger. I played golf. My dad was a greenkeeper on a golf course. So I played golf before I played cricket. And then I went in, was it 92? I went to, so it would have been 9. I went to go and visit cousins in Zimbabwe. And my cousins had a video cassette of the 1992 Cricket World Cup. And I watched this, and they were playing cricket in the backyard, and I'd never seen it before.
Right.
And that's how I got introduced in Zimbabwe when we were going to visit family. Watched that 92 World Cup, and it like blew my mind. And I said to my parents, I want cricket stuff for Christmas.
Right.
And we came back to South Africa, which is now in January, started school, went to school. And then I realized that the cricket was happening all around. Kids were playing it, but I just didn't notice it, you know.
Oh, wow.
So they were playing with dustbins as wickets and everything like that. I kind of just went past it.
Yeah.
And then once I saw it,
You were in.
I was in. Yeah. Then it was every day, like after that.
All right. That's incredible. So no 92 World Cup, no cassette, no Dale Steyn.
Nothing. Would probably be a fisherman somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Or not a golfer?
No, I like golf, but just like it ran its course, hey? Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you couldn't quite continue with that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that, actually. And I suppose there are many quirks to everything, to everyone, that you don't know how or why they end up where they end up. And once you started, who did you see? So did that 92 World Cup have particular people you saw that meant that you would be a bowler, or not really?
So Jonty was probably the first.
Okay.
The dive, Imzimam al-Haq. That was it. Like, I remember coming home. That's all I wanted to do. I was just amazed. Like, it was a Superman, you know?
Right,
like, I was
right,
blown away by it. Nobody was hitting sixes or like Alan Donald bowled really fast. But like, that was like an amazing thing. I was like, I was this energetic little child, like, and just wanted to do everything. And I probably replicated that run out in my garden without another batter or a bowler there, by myself 1,000 times.
Oh, wow.
You know, like running and just diving and knocking my.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. And then I just started playing, and then started batting a little bit, and I was bowling. And by the age of about 14, then I started to recognize that like Alan was like the guy. You know, it was also like Richard Snell from '92.
Yeah.
Craig Matthews,
Yeah.
Merrick Pringle,
Yeah.
these guys. But Alan was like the standout.
Yeah.
White Lightning, loved the sunblock.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were selling it at the sports shops. We used to buy it. And then those were my two guys that I just
Alright.
ran with. Yeah.
All right. And you didn't catch Alan, right? You're too young to have caught Alan.
I didn't play with him. Managed to have him as a coach.
Okay, yeah.
And it was just the best. You know, we'd finish a test match and he'd be sitting there having a beer, and I'd be like, "What was it like?" You know?
Yeah,
and he'd
yeah.
just tell stories.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'd be so pumped up. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go and do what he did."
Brilliant.
Rip into these guys, you know. So
Yeah. And when was your first class debut? Do you remember?
in 2004, De Villiers and myself.
Not your test match. I know that
No,
that test match was 2005, right?
So that was the end of 2004. So my first class debut was the end of 2003, start of 2004,
Right.
somewhere there.
Okay. And
And
that
then
was
a year later.
so that was at Titans.
Yeah.
But Titans is in Pretoria, and you don't know, right? And you're a guy from Phalaborwa.
Yeah.
And you went to school in Phalaborwa.
Yeah.
And so how do you end up at Titans?
You want the funny story?
I don't know it.
So-
I don't have a clue.
Okay, so this is exactly what happened. This is truth. Okay, so I finished high school, and then I joined the Limpopo Cricket Academy, which is my first year out of school. That was in Duivelskloof in Zanin.
Right.
There wasn't much to it, to be honest with you. I ended up getting the batter of the year there, so it shows you.
Oh, nice.
There were some good players there. There were some good players there, I must say, but I was injured and I batted. And then they had trials for the Titans at the end of 2002 for the Titans Academy. So we all went up for the trials. Our whole academy
Pretoria.
went to Pretoria at Tucky's to
Right.
do the trials. And I wasn't going to go, but the one guy lived in Pretoria. He convinced me that Hatfield Square is the best place in the world. And just like any young man,
So you were
was
what,
like,
19?
I was 18.
18,
Yeah, 19.
yeah, 19, yeah.
And I was like, I'm in. Like, yeah, I was 18. So I'm like, I'm in. We went and I think we got drunk every single night.
Wow.
And I went to the trials and I had long blonde hair and I bowled the speeder light. And I can't remember doing much in the trials, to be honest with you. And just had a weekend where we just drank and had a lot of fun and everything like that, because that's what, you know, we were
that's what you
doing.
did.
And I got a call from Jeff Clark, and he said, we want you to come and play for our club, which is Estrus in Pretoria.
Right.
And then I said, but what about the academy? And he said, don't you worry about the academy. You're in there, but I want you to come and play for my club.
Right.
And I said, okay, but I play for a club. He said, no, we're going to pay you 500 Rand a game. You can come and play for us. And
Whoa!
that's when I was like, wow, this is it now. I've made it. I'm getting paid to play cricket. So then, at end of 2002, I basically moved to Pretoria with the aim of potentially, not going to lie, potentially becoming a pro skateboarder. That's what I wanted to do. Or playing cricket. But they were paying me to play cricket. So I just played cricket, and then I joined the academy.
Okay, we need to park the cricket for a little bit, because he said it, not me, right? He said, with potentially the aim of becoming a pro skateboarder. Talk to me about this. I suppose would explain the long hair to a degree.
Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah. So, how much skateboarding were you? When did you start skateboarding?
Around 13, started skating.
Right.
In small town. So there was a small group of us, and we became really good really quickly.
How many?
There was about 10 of us, like
Right.
a small group of us. And I think the reason why we became so good so quickly was because we were watching the videos that were coming out. This is like 98, 97. And we were just doing what we saw on the videos. We didn't have anybody else to show us. Mm-hmm. So some of the tricks that you were learning on the videos were actually really hard. And then we started doing them just thinking that that's what
you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then I did a couple trips to Pretoria and started to meet some people there. And they were like, jeepers, where did you kind of come from? You know, you're pretty good at what you're doing. And they were things that they were struggling with. So I thought, wow, I'm actually a step ahead here. You know, I just need to be around these guys to get pushed a little bit more, you know. So I had that in mind, and I was around 18. I was like, okay, cool. This could be something that I really wanted to do. It was a lifestyle I enjoyed. I liked the music. That was the long hair. I liked the artistry of skating, like the lines that you do, how you do a trick, how you make it look. And when that didn't work out, I kind of added that into the cricket. So I was like, well, if I'm going to bowl, I need to make it look nice. It must look beautiful and poetic,
Right.
the same way that I wanted my skateboarding to look, you know.
Right.
So I married the two.
Right.
That
And how do you kind of know your skateboarding is not going the right direction? How did you figure that out? I mean, where do people skate in Pretoria?
So I mean, as we street skate, so you skate the streets anywhere. Yeah, you have your spots, ledges, rails, stairs, that kind of stuff, and then there's a couple good skate parks in Pretoria that we used to go and skate at. But most of the time, there's just you skate in the streets.
Oh,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
And so, a pro skater in South Africa skates for who and where and gets paid by who?
Yeah, so things have changed now so much. Like since social media has come on, I think you get two types of skateboarders now. You get two kinds of anything really, whether it's surfing or not so much cricket, but like you can be an influencer on skate in social media.
Right.
That people like you, like your style and the way you live and what you do and everything, and people follow that. So you get a massive following, and then you get the brands that say, oh, this guy's got 1 million followers. People like him even though he's not winning tournaments or he's not competing or anything.
So he wins that way.
And then you get your other ones that are like, cool, they are really good at like contests and like really good at like doing tricks one after the other without falling. And they're the ones that win X Games and Olympic medals and all this. And yeah.
All right.
So at the time there wasn't social media. So it was just like what we saw on videos was the lifestyle. I was like, I love this lifestyle that people live, you know?
Yeah.
The nice thing is that with skateboarding is that you can pick it up anytime. You can sleep all day if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then at 11 o'clock at night, I'm going to go and skate, you know? Or at 9 o'clock in the morning, I can skate all day. Whereas at cricket, it was like, you start this time, you finish this time, you know? And then tomorrow you got to do the same thing. So it was, that's what I loved about it, you know?
Right. Wow, what about that? So Dale Steyn skateboarder. How's that? Okay, so then you got to the academy.
Yeah.
And you played for Estras, and did you play many games for them or not?
No, I did. I played like a couple. I stayed in Estras for a little bit. I used to stay at the club.
All right. And you didn't have to pay rent?
Sorry, I didn't have.
You didn't have to pay rent or anything?
No, I didn't have to pay rent. Just stayed at the club.
You got paid?
And I got paid. And the guys would come and take me out at like 2 in the morning. I remember the guys, Dale Nation, Nigel Browers, they would come and fetch me at like 2 in the morning. They're like, and the next day is a game. And they'd be like, listen, my friend's getting married, come, we're going out. I was like, oh my gosh. And then you wake up the next day and you've had an hour's sleep and now you've got to play. Like,
wow.
That was great. It was just like, you're just learning, you know, as you're going. So yeah, I stayed there. It wasn't long, and I played that season, and that was over like November, December into Jan, and then the academy started. Okay. And then I was more in the academy, and I played for them on the weekends. So I had to find another place closer to the academy, and then I'd travel on weekends. Okay. And then like myself, Rolf van der Merwe, Faf, Steph Myberg, Heino Kun, Craig Williams, there's a whole host, Etienne Balati, a whole bunch of guys. We were all in the academy together.
Oh, and who did you live with?
So I lived, that friend of mine that lived in Pretoria, I moved into his place with his parents, actually, and he joined the Royal Marines.
Wow.
In England,
All right.
David Upton.
Okay.
And then I stayed in his room for a while, and then by the end of the year, essentially, I was playing for South Africa, and then within the space of a few months, I bought my first house.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's amazing. Eh?
Life just goes, and then I was in hotels, with the national team, just travel. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Oh, now tell me where surfing comes in. And I'm fascinated by surfing and the fact that you like surfing. Yeah. Because he's from Phalaborwa. Now, if I tell you where Phalaborwa is, Johannesburg, Pretoria are, as South Africa goes, no beaches, so landlocked, right in the center, sort of north and center of the country. Further north, towards the Zimbabwe border, up towards Limpopo, is where Phalaborwa is, and it's in the bush, and there's no sea for a while, right? You got to drive a long way if you're going to get to an ocean, and yet you're this crazy surfer as well. Like skateboarding, I get there are roads everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about surfing.
So yeah, I moved to Cape Town when I was like 23, 22. It's 20 years, now that I've been there. And obviously stopped skateboarding to get it hurt in skating, you
Cricket.
know, like, for cricket.
Yeah.
So
who was your coach at the time? Did they say, hey, come on?
Dave Nosworthy. He
He
was
said,
like,
come on.
put it aside,
Right.
not happening anymore. So which I did. And then moved to Cape Town, and I figured like water's way softer than, you know, concrete. So picked up surfing, and I did it, but I wasn't any good at it, like in the beginning. And then when I broke my shoulder a bunch of years ago, and I had a little more time off, and I was living in Cape Town, I was like, well, I need to make up now for like something to do. So I just started surfing, and then the bug not only bit, it consumed me.
Okay.
And now it's like I live on the beach now, you know, like that's all we do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose this is like a post-career thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just transition from one board sport to the other.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I kind of thought it was whilst you were playing as well, you were kind of very keen and always, you know, off to the beach. And no, it makes sense now if it's like after you'd finished. So
I picked it up when I was like solidly when I was probably like 36, somewhere there.
All right.
I'm 42 now, so 6 or 7 years now, which has been, And I think because I skated, like the transition has come quite easy.
All right.
Yeah, able to kind of do it a little bit better.
Yeah. Back to the cricket.
It's just also slightly important.
No, it kind of seems to be getting in the way of the stuff that you do. You know,
was.
It kind of, if I asked you to tell me what your approach to bowling was, and I know you told me this story about imposter syndrome, but post a certain time, there is a figuring that I'm the guy here, and I need to be the one, and I need to do stuff, which you did for your team for the longest time, right? To make the team win. So what was your approach, and where did it come from?
I think the approach always changes, like with who you're working with, you know. So early days, I was working with like Daryl Cullen, who was the captain of the Titans, and I felt like he guided me in a way. I was raw, I was fast, and he looked at me and he's like, cool, I've got this guy that can do this, and I'm going to get him to play and do this for me.
Right.
And then I would steal a lot of those characteristics going forward. Like once he retired and he was moved on, I would hold on to that. So like something like coming around the wicket and bowling bounces at someone for no particular reason. At all. It would just be in the middle of an over, like I'm hitting a good length, and now, all right, I'm coming around the wicket. Why? No, just because I'm going to hit him in the head, you know, and then I'm going to go back there and he's not going to have any feet and I'm going to take it away. I could have done it from over the wicket, but no, it's more scary from around the wicket. So, you know, I would use that. And then as I started to play with like Graham, who was the national coach, then he would be like, I need you to do more of this. And then he'd be like, but can you throw some of that mongrel in too? Just like, you know, come around the wicket. So the approach of the way that I played the game was always changing depending on who I was being captained by. And if they liked that style and it was working, then they would run with it for a long period, which I had with like somebody like Graham. And then as your captains change, you'll see like how people's influence in the game starts to change too. So I reckon by the end, when I had somebody like Faf, and I'd been out for a little bit, and he had KG come in, and he liked the approach that KG had, then I would get used less, and he would use KG's more approach. So I think that also, like by the end of it, I was like, well, the way that I go about the game is not going to be beneficial for this team anymore, which is the Proteas. So I got to go and find somewhere else where I know I'm going to be the guy or the influence. And then unfortunately you have to either take time away or you wait your turn. So that's how it works.
So harsh on yourself. Wow. Can you believe you can say that? Like, wow. Like you were only the guy like the whole time. Like anyway, yeah. Who I'm trying to think, of the who and Steyn. Did you bowl with Pollock?
I did bowl with Polly.
Yeah.
Had a couple seasons with him. Right in that transition phase where, like with me, the same thing happened with, say, Polly, where
He was just finishing.
yeah, he was finishing, and I think Mickey was eyeing out like who's and what he wanted.
Who's
So
next,
then we saw Mornay rise, and myself. It was kind of like a up and out with myself and Mornay. With white ball and red ball, but red ball I owned it, I took it, and that was it. But I was trying to get into the white ball stuff, but Mornay was there. And I think that's where Polly was like, okay, so I'm missing out on the red ball, I'll dominate the white ball. And then Mornay came in there. And then,
so moves on, So it's quite interesting actually, because it's a Pollock and Dini, and then it's Pollock Steyn and Dini Steyn.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, and it was the three of you, right? And everyone's kind of trying to figure out who's one, who's two, who's three.
Yeah.
And whilst it was competition, it's also like this passing on of the baton, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what happened. Same as Donald Pollock, right? And Donald de Villiers, Donald Matthews, Donald de Villiers, Pollock, and then on they go. Like so. Can you tell me what you get from each of the guys who become your partners? So, Ntini and Pollock, what is it you get from them? Morkel Steyn, what is it you get from that as a partnership and how you play in that? And then I think that becomes Steyn Philander, actually, towards the end. And I don't know if there's a Steyn Rabada.
It's slight,
but
it's there, but it's not as much as like
as all the others,
ones. So I think in the beginning it's like it's a respect thing. Like you kind of you slot in beneath them, and you just kind of dovetail off, say, Micaiah and Polly, and it's just like I'm learning from these guys and I'm operating, but I'm trying to outdo them the whole time because I want to do well, you know. And then when it's Morkel, it's my friend. But I want to show him.
I must be better than him.
I got to be better than him, and he's trying to be better than me. So you're always competing to get better. And then Vernon comes in, and by that point you feel established. You feel safe in your spot now. Mornay feels safe in his spot, but now it's like there's only 10 wickets in an innings. Who's getting them? Now it's a fight for that. So it was always fun. Like I always thought it was fun, you know. And you want your mates to do well because the team's doing well, obviously. Yeah. But there's always the internal competition between all of you that's kind of going on. Yeah.
Talk to me about bowling characteristics. I'm looking for nuggets, which these might go to established bowlers now, right? To guys who are well on their way in their career. And why I say bowling characteristics is because whilst you're trying to do better than X, if I said describe your job and how you did it, and why you did it that way, would you be able to? Or,
my job was to take wickets, but to control the length at high speed. That was that. And then the side to that was don't forget to rough him up, hurt him, make him uncomfortable, put pressure on him, and then let somebody else do it too. So you've got these they're forever changing, depending on the surface that you're there. But the biggest job is run and bowl fast, like bowl fast. That was the big thing.
Did that excite you from the beginning?
No, I absolutely loved it. There wasn't a second of it that I didn't like. I think the only time I kind of didn't enjoy it that much is that when somebody wanted you to be this monster on the field, like we got to a point where I wasn't a big basher of a dressing room, like some of the batters come in and just like lose their stuff like that. But like there were times that I walk back into the dressing room, I've had a bad spell and I'd like walk in and I'd be frustrated, You don't want to scream and shout in the field, but I'd walk into the dressing room and just like let it out, like a little bit of an outburst. And then someone would come and say, put a lid on it, just calm down. And I'm like, you don't get to do that right now. You don't get to get the Hulk out there.
Can you get out the door?
Yeah. And then as I walk in here,
you want me to be Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes it's going to spill over. You know, and that's just how it happens. But all the time, we want the Quicks to be the Hulk. He needs to be out there menacing, breaking things, breaking bones, breaking poles, whatever it is. And I loved it. I loved doing that. Got empowered to do that from the age of 14.
Right.
Yeah, I was playing club cricket, and I was flooring, grown men. I was 14, and I was hitting, grown men, or watching them run to square leg, not wanting to face me. And then after the game, I'd be shaking their hand, and I'm like, thank you, sir. Thank you for the game, because I was this young kid. But at the same time, I felt this power standing over him, looking at him on the floor, looking at me with his eyes, absolutely in fear.
White with fear.
So it was like, you've got to kind of fight that throughout school. And then when you're the same age, or when you're on the same level, it's like, well, the playing field's open now, my friend. Like, that's how it is.
It explains a lot. It does. It explains a great deal. I said before, you were successful everywhere. So we can go around the world. Let's start with, I don't know, the West Indies and go to, up to the UK and go all the way down to Australia and go to Asia. Doesn't matter where we go, and yet you found a way. More than others, and I'm not talking about everyone who bowled. No, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the bracket that you were in, which is the guys who are special, right? Why do you reckon, or how did you, more than the guys who you're in the bracket with who are special, manage to kind of do it everywhere when there are many who we kind of look at and we say, so-and-so, yeah, they're good over there, but they're not good over there, and yet we can say they're a great bowler. So do you have any idea? Or?
I mean, I always wanted to take wickets anywhere I was. I was like, that was like kind of my goal. Same way as a batter wants to score 100 in all conditions. I was like, every country I go to, foreign country, I want to take wickets. And I learned quickly from guys like, say, Bouch and them, who would tell me when I toured India for the first time. Like, I would listen to this information where he would say, remember that a caught short cover or caught mid-wicket is as good as a nick-off to first slip in South Africa. And I locked that in my brain, and I was like, okay, cool. So what you're saying is that I don't have to run in here and nick guys off to get wickets, because I'll be killing myself if I'm trying to do that in India, Nagpur, where it's flat and the ball just does not go there, where I can get them caught over here. So the ability to adjust and get wickets is what I was happy with. I didn't care how they came. I was going to get them. You know? And then another thing that I hated to do, and I've tried to do it better now because I'm in comms and I'm in the coaching part, is I hated to look at the surfaces of pitches, because like you just knew someone would be like, oh, there's not a blade of grass on it, and there's no chance, it's a road, and I would be like, that's not the mental state that I want to be in. Like, I don't care what the pitch looks like. There's wickets out there for me, and I need to find out how I'm going to get them. So I'm not going to go and look at the pitch and walk back into the dressing room and go, oh, it's flat, I'm not going to get any wickets. I'll just be like, captain goes and tosses, and he tells us what we're going to do. I bowl the first ball, see what length it is, and like where it's bounced and how it's bounced according to where the stumps are, adjust slightly, and then I start planning. Okay, cool, where can I get this guy? What's he doing? Is he falling over? Is he staying leg side? Is the ball going more in front of square than it's going behind square? Is it swinging? Is it reverse swinging? Where do I put my fielders in play that I can get this guy out? I take the surface completely out of it. I'm just like, bugger it. and then I start to zone in on how I'm going to get guys out. And the old saying is that if you can get one, you can get two.
Yep.
And then I get one, and then I try and get the other one as quickly as I can, and then take it like that.
And hopefully it snowballs, which for you it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. For others, it was like one, and then there wasn't another for a while. Just so you know, okay? In the South African teams that you played, who was your greatest influence?
I would probably say it was a toss-up between Smith and Boucher. I mean, both of them were there for such a long period of time when I was playing, in both white and red ball. Smith would captain me, so he knew when to bowl me, when not to bowl me. He used me well, he just captained me incredibly well. And then with somebody like Bouch, he was my keeper, he was my catcher. I'd bowl to him all the time. Like, I had great bowling coaches, but Bouch would come to me and he'd be like, look, last week you were running in a little bit wider, and this week you're a little bit too tight. He's like, just go a little bit this way. And it would be amazing that I would do that, and all of a sudden things would just click into gear, Or he'd run down the wicket and tell me, he'd joke with me and call me pring. He'd say, you're trying to swing it.
Right.
And that would make me quite angry.
And infuriate you because
yeah.
Pring swung it at, yes, it was high medium pace, but
yes.
it was still not your pace,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And he just knew how to kind of tweak me, and then would also come down the wicket sometimes, like in the middle of an over, out of absolutely nowhere, he'd run down the wicket, put his arm on me, and he's like, let's play a little bit of catch, just get the ball to me, just get the ball coming to me a little bit. And I'd sacrifice maybe 6 balls where he would catch, and through doing that I gained a little bit more confidence to get tighter, and then I'd find the edge, So they were incredible like that, because they were able to influence me to get wickets, But I had some amazing cricketers that were within that team, and people that I worked with all the time. It was just, when you're at that level, you are always dealing with the cream of the crop,
Yeah.
But I'd say those two were the hardest and best on me.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the other side of that? I mean, you speak of, Smith used you well. To many teams, it seemed like you were always bowling. That's what they'd think, right?
Yeah.
Because it'd be you getting them out. So, he's always bowling. He bowls the most overs, and just when you think you've got through him, then, not even an hour goes by, he's back again, that sort of stuff. And what about when they maybe, I don't know, felt you weren't quite on it, and they kind of needed to shove,
Brutally honest, that's the best thing about them.
Yeah.
I think when you become good friends with them too, they can tell you, listen,
this is nonsense.
This is nonsense. You're not on it,
Yeah.
And just when you think that they're going to put their arm around you and say everything's going to be okay, they tell you, harden up, bro, or sort it out.
Yeah.
And that was also great, because we would be at loggerheads too. I would often fight with Graham, on the field, and then he would pull me aside and be like, don't talk to me like that in front of everyone else, or whatever it was. And I'd be like, you're right, sorry, I'm wrong. And then we would just get back to it.
Let's work it out, yeah.
And I'd be like, what do you need me to do? And then we'd go and we'd do it. But there was just good honesty and good love and care. I knew that he would take care of me. Graham was like a father figure for many, many players. He'd be paying, not that I drink now or that I drank a lot, but he'd be paying the bar bill and looking after guys, sending the guys to their rooms, and whatever it is, paying for dinners, little things like that. You just felt like he had he bought your trust, not like financially, but he was there as a father figure. So when he was telling you something, you best listen, even though he's only 2 years older than me.
Oh, yeah.
He had your best interest at heart all the time.
Yeah. He earned it, that trust, more than anything else. Bought by the many decisions that turn out good for you, right? Yeah. On the field. And also because he starts slightly before you. Yeah. And so kind of has that experience and kind of flies right from the beginning. Do you know, you might have read this somewhere, do you know how many days you were number 1 in the world in Test match cricket? In the rankings?
No, I don't know the exact, but there's been 1 or 2 little meme things that get thrown around, and yeah.
Do you know who's number 2 with the most number of days? Mm-mm. Number 2 is Sir Curtly Ambrose. He could bowl a little bit, by the way. But you are 2,343 days, if I've remembered correctly. It's around there. And I think Sir Curtly Ambrose is just under 1,800 days at the top of the rankings as the #1 test match bowler in the world. Just saying that sounds ridiculous. What do you think when I say that?
When it's happening at the time, you don't realize it. You know, you're just doing it. You're just like, it's great. You know, you're just living the moment, but it's like now afterwards, you have a bit of a giggle. You're like, how did that happen?
How did that happen?
I don't know.
You did it. No, that's how it happened.
So weird, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's this, it's a bit of a blur. It's like, it happened so fast. 10 years, like, of my life, like, happened too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, we actually spoke about it the other day. We were talking, and someone was talking about a game that I played, and I was like, I can't remember what happened in that game. Like, oh, you got forfeit or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, it's embarrassing. Yeah.
What do you think of records? So yeah, I'd start with that one. You're the highest wicket taker in test matches for South Africa. And funny story. And I'm sure Sean probably told it to you when you broke the record, actually, because
Which is the one?
Which is, he kind of bought this magnum of champagne.
Yes.
Because he is, 420, 21 for him, right? And when you were going to break it, or he thought you were going to break it, and he'd carry this great big magnum of champagne. I think he carried it for 2 trips, because he'd say, "Flip, Dale."
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Dale, you know?
Shoulder went. Yeah.
So, what do you feel about records?
You know what? I realized this like late. It's like, for a long time, I never played for anything. Like, I remember Daryl Cullen, we were walking in the hotel in Bloem. I'll never forget it. We were walking in the hotel in Bloem, and we were talking about it, like a car sponsorship or something like that. And I can remember him turning to, it was me and Faf, or me and Morne, turned to us and he's like, hey, you guys should never play for that kind of stuff. Don't play for money, don't play for fame. He's like, you do the right thing, you'll get it. I remember it like it happened this morning, okay, standing in the hotel, and I was like, so good. And for a long time, I didn't ever think about like records or anything.
Right.
But then as I started to approach Polly's record, people started to make me aware of it. It's coming in record time. It's blah, 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 blah. And what happens? Bang, injury kicks in. First one, I come back from that, no problem. Okay, back on the road to break the record.
Yeah, injury.
Another one.
Yeah.
And I said to Lorata Malakutu, who was our media lady, I was like, the moment I started to chase a record, that's when things went pear-shaped.
Yeah.
And I'd never, ever thought about that kind of stuff before in my life. I'd never chased a paycheck. I'd never chased a record before. And the moment I started to do that, that's when the first injury came. That's when the second break came. And it took me so much longer to get there. And then I was like, you know what? That's not why I play. Let me just play, and whatever happens, happens. And obviously why I'm quite content with finishing not having 100 test matches or not making 450 or 500 test wickets, because I was like, I wasn't after that, because I think if I was, something bad would have happened.
Oh, something worse. Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to call it when I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so just enjoy, have fun, and you did. When you look back, absolute ball,
Loved it.
absolute jaw, as you'd say.
Best.
Yeah.
Best. Like, I wouldn't change anything. Even losing like World Cups and stuff like that. Like,
wouldn't change a thing.
Wouldn't change a thing. I mean, it would have been nice, like, say 2015 to get over the line, like, sure, but no, like, I've had the best time of my life, like, and I don't think it would have changed much, I would have just had a medal.
Right.
I would have just carried on. Like, would have been able to tell people, oh, this is how you win one more game of cricket.
Yeah.
One many games of cricket.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made a massive difference.
Was that the lowest point? If you think about it, was
what was it?
With all these highs and all this winning, was that the lowest point?
That was emotionally the lowest point.
Yeah.
I think there was something else that I thought about the other day. when you think deeper about it,
Mm.
you know, there was times like when Bouch lost his eye,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, like that was like bad, you know, like you talk about losing a World Cup.
You're on the field, eh?
Yeah, I was right there. So like,
It was at Taunton.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's, you think losing a cricket game, that's fine. It's not life changing. You know, I'll wake up tomorrow. But like that was bad.
Yeah.
You know, this changed the man's life.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a couple other occasions that I've seen people's lives change.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like that stuff's bad.
Okay.
So losing games, I'm okay.
I know what you mean, but I hope they know. He don't want to lose.
No,
he
we
never
don't wanna lose.
He
We
doesn't
don't wanna
ever
lose.
want to lose.
Yeah.
But the fact that it happens is that it happens. It's not, you know, I neither feel this nor that about it,
Yeah.
which is fine. Are you a philosophical sort of guy?
Not really, but like as I've gotten older, a little bit more. Like yeah, but nothing that's I'm not preaching anything.
Not earth shattering.
No.
I want to talk about your movie.
With the Adam Sandler.
Adam
one.
Sandler.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's a fun one.
You were in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and number one, was Simo in it as well?
No,
Was that a different movie? I can't remember.
it could have been something else.
Yeah, it might have been something. But tell me how that happened.
All right, so I'm sitting in England, Champions Trophy in England.
2013?
When was it? 2013?
Because I think there was a 2013 and it was 2017.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in England, phone rings, and I get given the phone. It was Zunaid who had the phone, our security.
Yeah.
And it's Rory Steyn, and he's like, who runs Nichols and Steyn. They do all the security.
Yep.
And he's like, Steyn, I've got somebody that wants to talk to you. And next thing on the phone is Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And I recognize his voice in a second.
So you liked his movies and stuff?
I've loved these movies.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore, all these other movies. Like, love them.
Yeah.
So I recognize his voice in like a split second. And he's like, I'm in South Africa now. Rory is showing me videos of you bowling. And we want to do this little cricket scene in a movie. Would you be interested to do it? And I was like, of course. And then in the background, like Drew Barrymore jumps in. She starts screaming, "Yeah, get your ass, yeah!" And I'm like, what is going on now? Okay, yeah. So put the phone down. Awesome. And about a month later, I fly to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we do this. We shoot
Do the scene. Yeah.
We do the scene. I spend a week there with them. First day, I pull in to this hotel. We're staying on the golf course. And as I'm checking in, it's like a resort, so it's not a hotel. So it's like one floor. I'm checking in, and this big black car pulls up, and I just hear this guy go, "Steno!" And I turn and I look, and there's Adam Sandler in this big black
big Escalade or
SUV.
something.
And
Yeah.
I walk up, and his bulldog is sitting on the passenger seat, and he's like, "Jump in! I've got to go shoot a scene. Are you checked in?" I said, "Oh, it's fine." He's like, "Don't worry." He screams at them. He's like, "Jump in the car." Boom, we go and we chat, and we go. I watch him shoot the scene and everything like that, and then we drive back. And he says, do you throw hoops? And I'm like, yeah. So he's like, I'll come fetch you this afternoon, because it was like in the morning. So I'm like, epic. So he comes and picks me up that afternoon, and he comes with Shaquille O'Neal.
What?
And, and there the three of us go in a golf cart. And we go, and we get there, and then some of the crew are there and security, and there we shooting hoops. Yeah.
You, Shaquille O'Neal, and Adam Sandler.
Yeah. And then the next day I go to the scene. We shoot my scene, but it's weird because we shoot. It's a two shot. So they shoot. They're filming him, but I'm in the background, and then they finish and they say that's a wrap, and I think it's my turn. I'm like, he's like, no, we come tomorrow. We're going to shoot your scene, but from
in the background.
from him being in the background. I'm like, okay, no problem. So it took like 3 days to shoot.
Right.
But so I hung out with them, had dinner with them, basically every night. Yeah, it was incredible. It was just...
It's like... Has your whole life kind of been like...
Yeah. And it's just like, what... I don't know. And you realize they're just people, you know? Like, they honestly are. Like, when you're sitting around the dinner table and talking about, like, oh, my toilet's broken at the house, or I've got it, you know, you realize everyone's just normal, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But incredible to, like, just an incredible experience. Yeah.
I asked about Adam Sandler, and it kind of fits quite nicely. Do you know where I'm going?
No.
You don't. Okay. I asked about Adam Sandler because do you know the guy on Adam Sandler's movies? He goes, "You can do it!"
Yeah.
Because I want to know about the crazy eyes. You know, like the crazy eyes and the veins gonna pop on your neck and. Tell me about that. Like, do you even have you seen videos, right?
Yeah.
Of yourself going absolutely mad. Actually, yesterday there was the guy who said, "I love how you celebrated," and whatever. Yeah, right. When you see yourself now, what do you think? And do you know kind of what got you to that state?
No idea. I don't know how it happened. I just remember playing for the Titans, and I didn't celebrate. The thing is, I never celebrated like that in high school,
Right.
or even when I played club cricket.
Right.
I actually think the first time I ever celebrated like that in club cricket, I swore at the batsman, and like I don't know what I said. May have told him to F off.
Right.
Okay. And I was playing. I was 15 or 16, and I was playing for this club called Afkalaka Cricket Club, and my whole like teammates, they all came around, great guys, like all good ex-cricketers that went to Boys High and all these good schools that played like SS schools and then came back to farm. you know.
Right.
But they were good ex-players.
Right.
Some of them in their 30s, even 40s.
Right.
And I remember them getting around me, and when I told them to kind of like F off or whatever it was, they all like just looked at me and they walked away from me. And that's the first time I ever felt like
Yeah.
wow, like I'm like, you know.
Good lesson.
Great lesson.
Yeah.
Great lesson. Because now these are the people that you respect, and they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
You know. And so I realized, cool, I can celebrate like that, but not to do that. And then played for the Titans, and I don't know, it just kind of like it came back, and yeah, celebrated, but never like to a batter or anything. And then made it for South Africa. And it just like exhilarated because I think Brett Lee was like massive influence, you know.
Yeah.
2003 World Cup, he was just taking poles and like incredible celebrations, and it just gets you pumped up. Yeah, and I look at it now. I could never do that celebration now for anything that I like.
Well, you pop a vein to start. You probably will. Okay. Your greatest adversary, the guy, and look, you might say there's nobody, but the guy you found most difficult to prize out, who you thought coming against whoever it was, you kind of felt, I have to do more here to get this guy.
They always changed depending on where we were and who we were playing against.
Okay.
I can't always, like you say, like pride yourself and like there is no one, you know, but there was always someone. Like when you look at a team, like there's always someone, you know, like there was a period where you would be playing against like Bangladesh and you knew that they were nowhere near your skill level, but Tanim Iqbal was the guy, you know? So for that team it was him, you know? In comparison to many other teams, he may not even have made their teams at that period. Yeah. Maybe now he's much better player. But even for then, you like, that's the guy. So like every team had their kind of player. But yeah, I mean, Sachin was like really difficult. Like he came with so much. Yeah. There was a lot about him. And then I always like, there's so much hype about this guy. I'm like, there's too much hype about this guy. He's not that good. Yeah. Come on. I've got him. Yeah. Then you play against him and there's a bit of a brick wall.
Then you learn.
Yeah. You can't go past him.
Oh, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Did you and I think this is the same with any kind of really good bowling attack. Best guy in the attack, without being told, kind of hunts the best guy in the batting lineup in the opposition, and everyone kind of decides who that. Or they don't. It's pretty apparent who the best guy is, who the guy is who can hurt you the most, and you kind of decide that's your personal battle because you're the guy.
Yeah, sometimes it wasn't even the big fish. You know, it would be someone else. I would just eye them out, and I'd be like, "That's my guy. I've got that guy. This series, whenever he comes in, I'm bowling. And I'm gonna clean him up." Many times, you know, just identify one particular player and go, "Okay, I'm coming for you." Where at the end of the series is like, "Did I do something to you or something?" Because every time I came out to bat,
you bowled.
You bowled, or you would just like I could see it when you walk past me in the field. I'm looking at him as if he knows when I'm coming on the bowl. It's like walking past that lion. You know, I'm not going to hunt you now.
Yeah, but I'm
you know,
coming
there's a
for you.
fence between the two of us. But you walk through that gate over there, my friend. I'm taking you down. And like, yeah, that's. But yeah, there was some marvelous players. Ricky was one from Australia. I remember playing my first ODI, official ODI, because my first ODI was for Africa. So my first official ODI was against Australia. And I remember after the game, I got beaten all over the place. I went for like 60 and 6 and then got subbed because there was the subs. And then...
had you gone across as like a replacement or something?
I replaced I replaced AB, actually. AB got dropped.
Oh, right.
And they brought me over and Johan van der Vat over. So they're kind of looking for a 2-in-1, I think. And they got Boehm and myself. And I remember playing the game, and then afterwards, like the first person's hand that I shook was Ricky's, he's the captain. And he didn't make the eye contact with me that I was hoping for. Like I wanted him to look me in the eye and acknowledge who I was, even if I had a bad game.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He kind of just like, hey mate, and he walked on.
Because he didn't have a clue who you were.
He didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I was nobody,
Yeah.
which is right. You know, that's fine. And I remember shaking Gilly's hand, and Gilly said, great pace, mate, well bowled. And I remember seeing Brett Lee, and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, good wheels. You know, he had something to say, and I felt good about it. And I was like, that's nice. I said, but that guy, the first guy,
I want that guy.
I'm coming for him.
you picked a good one.
Yeah. And like unknowingly, like Ricky, I went into exclusive books one day and I saw Ricky's book there, opened it up, and then it said there, like some of the most difficult bowlers that he had ever faced. And my name was there. And he said by the back end of his career, like I was just like a bad rash for him. I just wouldn't go away.
Right.
And like I kind of got him, and like I didn't go out to do that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it. But it's weird that I think he felt it eventually. Like
Do you think subliminally? So, I mean, that happens to you, and then you conquer they don't know who I am because you become the main guy. But you reckon that doesn't go away?
It never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you they don't even know it. They don't even know that they've done this to you. You know, but for you, it's like this is it's cool. I'm number one in the world.
Yeah.
But I still haven't got him. You know,
And I want him.
and that's what I want more than this. This is awesome. But when I get him, that's what matters. Yeah.
Oh wow. As we finish, I mean, Ricky, Sachin, I suppose we'll go around the world. If I went around the world,
different.
Who are your adversaries? So say England.
Strauss, actually, strangely enough, not somebody that took me down. Just my first Test series, couldn't get him out in my debut series, and then it took so long for me to play against him again that by the time I was better and good, I was like, okay, I'm going to get you now. Excuse me. And then Mornay got him the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't even bowl to this guy because Mornay is getting him.
Yeah.
And then when I did get my one or two opportunities, I got him out. And then I felt like I can actually get this guy out, you know. Even though he's probably not in the same like caliber as like a Kevin Peterson or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Very, very good batter.
Yeah, top batter.
But not someone that like, you know, is the feared guys.
Yeah.
You know, Strauss is a good player. But for me, it was like, I couldn't get him out, you know. So, yeah, him, Chris Gale from the West Indies, like, he just had the ability to like hit you out of the attack, you know, like you'd feel like I've got it. He would also defend you, but when he was going, he'd just take you down.
Many forget. I think many I suppose remember Chris Gale 2020 player, and here we really are talking about Test match players, right? And this is a guy with 100 in 2020s, many of them, more than, what has he got, like 2200s or something in T20 cricket, and then many hundreds in one day cricket. He's got double 100 in one day cricket, and then a 300 in Test match cricket, you know. So like, this is a guy who could play, you know. And so when you mention him, I'm just kind of clarifying that because some people go, Chris Gale, wow, you know.
Yeah, and he opened the batting and I opened the bowling, so it was like there was that, you know. I found a lot of opening batters like. You either get through them, and then it's the 3 and 4 that are really difficult, or it's those opening batters that I just never was able to break through, and then the first change bowler would maybe get them, and then I'd have to wait again, my turn to try and go again, you know, at them.
Sangakkara Jayawardene?
Yeah, great. From Sri Lanka, they made 700 or whatever it was.
Did you play the game?
I played that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your senior bowler jokes all the time.
Yeah.
He says, they made 700.
Never happened.
Would anyone get 700 if I was playing? No chance. they could bat for a long time. Incredible. Where else? Who else? I'm trying to think who else you'd have come up against a whole lot. Anyway, never mind. I'd go to India. There are a lot there, right? And Sachin you mentioned, and Sehwag, and whoever, all those guys you played a long time. If I asked you, do you think about cricket a whole lot now? How many years is it now since you've retired?
Yeah, a couple. I can't even tell you when I retired. Probably 2021.
Okay.
I think I retired. 4 years.
So we're 4 years down.
Yeah.
How much do you think about it, and in what way? You do some coaching now, so you kind of have to do that part, right?
I always thought, like somebody said to me, what would be your ultimate goal? I said, my ultimate goal would be to get to a day where I don't think about cricket in a day.
All right.
And I just don't think that it will ever happen, because I think it just consumes me too much.
Right.
There's too much history. There's too much that's going to come. There's, like, I'm going to have a kid now. Is he going to play cricket? The word cricket is just never going to go out of my vocab or out of my mind. So at some point in the day, it comes across.
Right.
Even on my most chill days when I'm fishing on a river and all I'm doing is trying to catch fish, at some point in time, it reminds me of something that I've done on a cricket tour or something like that. Every day, it's like,
Okay. Yeah. Final subject is fishing. And it's written there on my list. You you think I'm lying, right? Look. It's fishing as the final subject. And it's because, and the reason I left it for last as a post question after that to kind of end on cricket, but I left it for last because of the kind of seeming love you have for it. This guy will do anything. This is from the stories he's told me, right? He will do anything to go on a fishing trip. And am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right.
And I don't understand that.
I know, my missus doesn't understand it either. I'd done it from a young age. I was introduced to it with my grandfather. I went fishing for him.
Yeah.
Caught my first fish, caught a bass, my first fish ever by myself. And like, excuse the pun, but I was hooked. Like from that moment, it was just like I just wanted to replicate that feeling, that rush of what you feel, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think cricket and fishing are that too different.
Come on, tell me.
And I was telling you, I think I told you about this the other day, you know, like I never felt I was taking a break away from cricket when I went fishing, other than just because it's relaxing. But like, so when you're targeting a fish, we are targeting with what depth of the water he's at. He's either deep, or he's in the middle, or he's in the top. So we're using specific lures, floating, something that's mid, or something that goes all the way down to the bottom.
Right.
So we are, again, it's like cricket. It's like, when do these guys feed? Where do they feed? What are they eating?
Yeah.
And it's like a batter. Like, where does he hit the ball? What is his weaknesses? What is his strengths? And fishing is the same. And I'm always trying to work it out, you know. And then when you do catch a fish, it's like getting the five or getting the wicket, you know, or getting a guy nicked off, you know. Seeing that perfect cast. It lands over there. I know I'm going to twitch it once, twice, bang, and I'm in, you know. And you're waiting for it to happen, and it's like bowling that ball. As you let it go, like I know when I let it go, that's a good one. Like I know immediately. And it's the same thing with a cast or like a strike, and you know that's a good one. And obviously if you catch a big fish, it's like getting a massive wicket. And if you get any fish, it's like getting any wicket. It's just, And now we just target these fish all around the world, fish that we watched people catch when we were kids, you know, in Bolivia, in Brazil, in the Congo, in Mozambique, in Botswana, in India. All these rivers. Yeah,
what's the craziest fishing trip? Is there one that you'd go, my goodness? I mean, he's just named quite a lot, right? Like Bolivia, the Congo, Brazil, like, to go fishing. So is there like maybe something that happens on a fishing trip that, that where you say, whew, that's nuts. I mean, you know.
So we went to Bolivia, and we were fishing in.
Why did you go to Bolivia?
Because the fish that you're targeting there is golden dorado. It's called. Okay. So they're in the middle of the Amazon jungle. So right. Bolivia, you fly in to Santa Cruz, and then you jump on a plane. You fly into the middle of the jungle. If you crash, they will never find you.
Right.
Honestly, they drop you off at this runway. It's not even a runway. It's a dirt like thing, and the plane turns around and he flies back and he says, "I'll see you in 7 days," and then they come and pick you up there. And you fish the river there. The water's anywhere between knee to waist deep. No signal, no nothing.
Yeah.
And there you go. And like my friend got trench foot from you wear these boots.
Oh right, yes.
And he didn't clean them out. And basically, it's a bacteria that starts to eat the skin really badly. And if you don't get an antibiotic quite quickly, it like spreads, and you could essentially like lose. He was lucky that he didn't lose his foot. Yeah.
How many days?
We're there for 7 days.
And so when did he get the?
He got that on like the 5th day, and I had a general antibiotic that I gave him, and was able to like look after him until we got back to South Africa. And then he had to go and see a doctor, and then the same guy got a hook stuck in his eye the day we were leaving for Brazil in the morning, like right through the eyelid. He was fishing. And then we managed to get him to the ER. He got it out. Lucky it didn't hurt the eye. And then he had to fly to Brazil with this patch on his eye.
Still flew to Brazil.
Yeah.
And the crazy part for me with this is, he was fishing before going on a fishing trip.
Yes, yeah. We went to the dam to just go and check this dam out. They needed I don't know what it was. My mate said he needed to do something there. And then from there, we were going to go back to the house, shower, and go to the airport. So we weren't meant to fish. We were just there to check it out quickly in the morning. And then, he had a cast and he got it hooked in his eye.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll send you the pictures, and if you want, you can put it on. It's quite funny.
I don't want the pictures.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of understand a little bit the way you kind of marry it with cricket. I'll finish off. 2 things. From how it's gone, how it's going. This will be the question you answer last. And whilst you answer the next one I'm going to ask, you can kind of be thinking, what would you advise anyone, right? Cricket-wise, obviously, I'm not looking for anything necessarily out there, but I'm just asking if you kind of learned a lesson or some lessons that you'd say, do you know what? Every time I think this, and I reckon everyone can benefit from this because of me playing cricket. The other question is, when you look at, it's a big question, this one. When you look at cricket now, and you kind of see how it's gone for you all the way across, is there anything you see that you would change?
For me?
No.
In the game?
For the cricket landscape, yeah. For cricket itself.
Jeepers.
It's a humongous question, I know.
And I think there's so many levels to both those questions. And there's so many good answers that you could give. Like,
oh no, I don't. Good, not good.
Yeah.
This is the one I think.
Yeah.
We're just having a chat.
Yeah. No, I think they change according to how you currently feel and how you're currently viewing the game. So I could answer this question in like a month or 2 from now, and I might have a different feeling. And just like based on my last experience, which is the last one, maybe the SA20 or something like that. Like I would just say that the teams that if people buy into a team and buy into what the coach and the captain is like asking of them, I reckon they will get more out of themselves. Like at Sunrises, and I say this, like at Sunrises now we had a very simple basic plan. Bowl hard length, stick to it, have a cow out when guys have a slog, you'll get wickets there. And you do this relentlessly, you'll be up in the leading wicket takers, and do it quickly. So that's kind of like the plan at Sunrise. There's many other plans, but that's the basic one. So first SA20 comes out. Marco does really well. Gets a good IPL contract or whatever it was. Bryden Cass comes out, plays for England. Okay. Last year we have Dan Worrell. He's come out, plays for Surrey, got 1 or 2 leagues. Othniel Bartman followed that same principle, plays for South Africa, comes to South Africa. Marco Jansen, leading wicket taker again. This year we've got Richard Gleeson, who could be good bowler, who could be a replacement in the IPL. I actually spoke to someone last night. It looks like he might go. You never know. Good luck.
Don't worry, this won't air by then.
But so again, that's got nothing to do with me. Okay, I just saw these guys buy into that and didn't worry about anything from their outcome. And I've seen like huge success for them. And I would say that's what I would say. Like, if you're gonna go around the world and you're gonna participate in a league or whatever it is, buy into that. Don't look too far ahead at like, where's my next one that I'm going to, or whatever it is. And you'll probably find that like you'll be better off from that. And it goes all the way back to what Daryl said to me.
I was going to say, it seems to be exactly the same thing.
Yeah, and that would be my big thing. It's like you chase that ball, that moment, and everything else will kind of take care of itself.
So that's an answer to like both questions kind of at the same time.
What was the second one? So what would I change? Like
that's I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, like a bit of both. And I mean the game can change. Like there's many things that we can change in the game, from ODI cricket with the 2 balls coming down to 1. I would say I'd love to see reverse swing come back into the game. We've spoken about it briefly on air.
Yeah.
And it's always difficult to talk on air because if you say the wrong thing, it's easier to speak. Yeah. You know?
But there is no wrong thing. I think that the difficulty, I suppose, because in this kind of commentary game, you're sort of starting up, right? And you kind of feel you might not couch what you think correctly, and then it kind of is misconstrued, right?
Yes.
And that's fair enough. I mean, guys, you know.
Yeah.
But on the reverse swing thing, you're not going to get any pushback from me. We've been kind of saying this for a long time, and I suppose it's because of the view of the game, right?
Yeah.
You look at it and you go, bowlers are not getting a whole lot, right?
Yeah. Just want to see them kind of come back in. It's what I did. I had a great career doing it, and there are guys that have got a good career doing it right now. But there's a handful of guys, that you look at and you go, those are the most wanted fast bowlers out there.
Yeah.
We can make that more. We can make that a lot more, but we've got to give them more to be able to do that, because not everybody is a Bumrah. Or a Rabada. And so if you get someone that can have a little bit of reverse swing somewhere along the line, maybe we can develop 5 or 6 more of these guys, and that's kind of where you want to get at.
And so it leads me to sort of say, and just listening to you, because this is always the argument, like you wonder if that's a widening of the margin for error or a slight lowering of the standard or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the balance. So for there to be Dale Steyns and Curtly Ambroses and and Rabadas and Bumrahs and whoever, the great bowlers, it's got to be really hard. Yeah. Right? That's why there is that bracket. And they no matter what the conditions, can manage to succeed. And maybe that's what the batters are sort of saying. No. Yeah. You can still be good.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, we could go on forever. I think we could. I think though, Dale, that, and I wanted to ask about India, but I think that's a whole subject on its own. And I'm being honest. Like if I said, let's talk about India and, what you do there and how you go there and how you went there, 7 for 58 and, 10 for, like what, that's crazy. And IPL and, one-day games there and just, where do you skateboard there? Where do you surf?
You do surf there, that's one thing.
So I think that's a subject on its own that one day we might have, right? But thanks for this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll go on. But that's it for now. I think that's enough, right? For now. Okay. Cheers.